Hi everyone, I'm Ashley and I am ASB's Instructional Technology Coordinator. And today I'm going to be reviewing artificial intelligence and appropriate use at ASB. So there's going to be a lot of information in this slide deck. We have a full agenda, um, which will be our belief statement, students' appropriate use. So I want to share students' appropriate use with all of you teachers so that you can start getting used to the vocabulary and ways we talk about AI with students. Then we're going to go into how staff use AI and how we can be responsible about that. And then there is another section around how we can integrate AI into our teaching and do so without losing that student thinking and that student critical thinking and work. And then I'm going to review finally some of the ASB platforms. So as I go through today, feel free to pause. It might be long, so come back to this. I'm going to reference some different documents that you might want to have and find afterwards or make a note of. So let's get started. And first, I just want to talk about, as educators and at ASB, we've decided that we see many benefits for AI in education. It's still a relatively new technology that we will continue to explore over the years. And since it came out, we've been reviewing our statements and our policies and how we use them. However, research indicates that the following are some potential opportunities. So, the idea of personalizing learning more for students and giving them timely support with an AI bot, providing real time feedback for students and guidance, and then also saving time for teachers in automating administrative tasks so that we can really get back to the heart of teaching, which is being with our students and working more in the classroom. Maybe you've seen in the news, there are some schools where now students do AI lessons online for like an hour or two in the morning, and then they're with teachers and they are interacting and doing some practical real life work. We're not at that extreme yet at ASB, or not that we will go there either, but I just wanted to identify that those have been research-based opportunities that we see as educators. That doesn't mean, like all new technologies that are emerging, there are risks, and we want to be very aware of them. So, bias and inaccurate information. We know that AI systems can perpetuate existing biases, as well as provide inaccurate information, which we call hallucinations, that are difficult for students and even adults to identify. There's privacy concerns. The risk of exposing students' sensitive information due to data breaches or intrusive practices. Teachers and students must be really careful with which sites we use that are usually paid, that are GDPR compliant, so that we do not get into issues of privacy concerns. And then another risk is dependence, over dependence of technology. If that didn't exist before with AI, that's certainly a huge thing that we need to be aware of and careful with. So let's go into ASB's statement. I'm not going to read this whole statement. However, I'm going to link it in to the description of this video, as well as if you are in our Google Classroom for new staff, in this assignment so that you can really read through it. It also lives in our family handbook. This is something that students see as well as parents and staff. Some highlights is innovation. ASB embraces AI, we embrace innovation, and we believe it can enhance learning and empower students to explore new educational possibilities that are always changing. So we do come back to the statement and revise it often. However, with AI, we have to really be sure and really highlight that integrity matters. We want to practice academic honesty and help students and ourselves avoid plagiarism to uphold integrity in our work. And then learning. ASB is dedicated to teaching students how to use AI responsibly, how to teach our staff how to use AI effectively. And so we are always learning. We'll learn with our students and we'll learn together. So this is just a comment I want everybody to be aware of that happens at ASB because we're committed to student learning. We have adopted Common Sense's digital citizenship lessons, and there's a whole unit on AI lessons. And we use those in our classrooms, in our digital citizenship units. Where exactly do they come? Well, in elementary, Well, actually, K-5 starts with having digital citizenship. In elementary, in grade 2, all the way to grade 5, there is one more lesson added that is around AI specifically. Then when we go into middle school, they have AI lessons in their advisory program. They have a whole unit on digital citizenship, plus one AI lesson dedicated in their advisory. In grades 9 and 10, they have a course called Wellness. And in here, we have two AI specific lessons. Reason that it ups is that, oh, got some celebration here. The reason that it ups a little bit is because this is where we've seen a lot of dependence with students and some plagiarism. So we go a little bit deeper into acceptable use with them. So that happens in their digital citizenship unit, 2 extra AI lessons. Then in IB program in grade 11 and 12, they have something called Junior and Senior Seminar. In here, we really go deep into AI use, specifically around plagiarism and how IB allows AI use. So those lessons get delivered through Extended Essay Coach as well as our IB coordinator. So we have these AI appropriate use lessons for students. And then we also have integrated units with AI use so that they can practice using it as well. The AI digital citizenship really talks about how does AI work, how can we appropriately use it, and then also where are these risks that exist there. So that is a little bit about our digital citizenship. And then I want to share with you just this little image that we use. Now we're getting into students' appropriate use. This is an image we share with students in grade 2 all the way through high school. You can see there's 2 different images here. I just want to share why we use this image. And so basically, this bottom part reads here that we want to use generative AI to enhance our learning, not to replace it. So we want to think about what would happen if let's just use this image on the left here. I am wanting to get into shape. So I use AI to make a gym routine for me. And then I send my AI to the gym to do that routine. Here, the AI would be doing the heavy lifting, like they would be doing in our learning if we were using AI to plagiarize or create work for us, and I wouldn't see any of the results. So that's something, an analogy we use with our older students. And then you can see on the right-hand side, there is a little robot soccer player. And we talk to students about, when we use AI to replace our learning, that would be like we send our robot to training every day to get better at soccer, or here in Spain, football. And then when it comes time to game day, that we expect to be better at soccer and win that, or score that winning goal, or then that would just not make any sense. And so we try to use this analogy to show students that we can use it to help our learning, but not to fully replace it. So what does it look like to help our learning? So here you can see that same image. If that bot is going to that soccer match for us, it would be replacing our work. Here, we're using the bot to maybe train with us and help us get better. So how can we train with a bot to help us get better? There are some examples here. We tell students they can use AI to help provide basic information or research on a topic. They have to use 3 sources of information. That's kind of always been a rule here at ASB for researching. So AI can be one of them, and they have to find 2 others. We can use AI to help study or give explanations in a new way. So help make a study guide, or make me a quiz, or this was explained in class but I don't understand it. Explain it to me in a way using some examples from Harry Potter, my favorite book series. Okay, so those are creative ways to use AI to help study or give new explanations. Brainstorming ideas with you. So you can have a conversation with an AI, students could, saying, I have these ideas, I need a few more, help me work through this idea. So in the brainstorming process. And then also, we are helping students see how they can use it as one source of feedback. We always want to get teacher feedback, peer feedback, but another place again could be AI feedback. Now, this has a really big caveat. IB, when they get to grades 11 and 12, IB has indicated that no assignments can receive feedback from any AI programs. So that last piece is not applicable for the IB. So we have to be really careful when we are working with students in grade 11 and 12 that we make sure that those students are not encouraged and are told explicitly, hey, AI is great to give you feedback. However, on IB specific assignments, it can't do that. It could still give feedback on, hey, I wrote this email. Point out some places where I could improve it to be more concise. Okay. So it could do it on other things that are not IB related, but definitely not on IB assignments. So just overall, this is an image we can kind of help ourselves talk with students about. And remember that AI, it's a tool to support learning, to work with you, be your partner, versus replace your own efforts, not going to the gym or going to the soccer match for you. Specifically, we do tell students some cannots. So they're all plagiarism basically, but students cannot have AI draft writing or complete any assignment for them. Students cannot copy and paste directly from AI. Students cannot use AI as the only source for research. And if they do use AI, we do have a citation guide of how they can cite that. In addition, if a teacher indicates, hey, on this assignment, no AI may be used on the assignment, in the researching, in the studying, nothing, then they cannot use AI. This should be written, and I'll go over that as well for teacher AI use, but it should be written in that assignment. So I am just highlighting plagiarism again. It is in our family handbook, but AI has really raised concern and instances for us around plagiarism. It's just the fact we have more flags of plagiarism happening because of AI. So especially if you're in the high school, you will be kind of familiar with that. And so we have some systems at the high school and middle school, everyone kind of puts in place, but they're basically around plagiarism. It's not AI specific, it's around plagiarism, which has existed since forever. So now that we've talked about that, I'm going to put a link, of course, into our classroom assignment or in this description as well. You could also scan this QR code. This is a quizzes, and it was used with all of our staff has practiced this, as well as with students. And it just is a sort, and you could pause the video now and do it, but it's a sort that says, where is AI enhancing our learning, and where is it replacing our learning? So take a minute, scan the QR code here, or go directly to the link that is in the Google Classroom or in the description here and practice it. See where it's tricky and where it's not. One thing I'm highlighting here is AI to enhance our learning. We say get feedback on your writing and give suggestions for improvement. That's not the same as rewrite my writing and then copying and pasting it. And then also note that is not for IB students. So let's move on now to us as teachers. How can we as teachers, we've seen all these opportunities in education, but how can we use it responsibly? I'm going to go over, I believe there's 5 specific examples of how we can be responsible with our use. The first one is to be transparent. We want students to cite their sources, so let's also cite when we're using AI as a teacher. There's 2 ways I like to do that. We have a program called Brisk that helps us insert. We use a lot of Google Docs, so it helps insert AI feedback right into students' writing as comments. We want to be transparent and talk to kids about, hey, sometimes I'm going to use AI to get feedback. And when I do, I have this little robot face. And then I'm also going to tell you a little bit of what I think. So I use this heart. You can choose to use like a human or whatever you want here. But you can use these little emojis to help indicate when it's AI and when it's your own voice. I also have, because I'm using a lot of AI to help me write or rewrite emails to be really timely in my responses. So on the bottom here, I say this email could be AI assisted. If we make rubrics, we just say AI assisted rubric using Magic School. So you want to cite whenever we're using AI so that students can see that's the appropriate way to use AI as well. The second way is to not share identifying information of students with a bot. That's like first, last names and grades, specifically in free programs like a ChatGPT, okay? Something that you're not paying for. We have school paid for programs like Magic School, Flint, and Brisk Teaching, where they are GDPR compliant, which means then sometimes we do use it and adding students' names, giving feedback on their work. So if it's a free bot, you have to be 100% sure, or if it's something outside of ASB's approved bots that are GDPR compliant, that you do not add any identifying information. This includes if you use ChatGPT and you put in emails from school that have sensitive data, that violates the appropriate use and GDPR compliance. I'm saying GDPR, and for those of you that are new to Europe, we will be talking about this in orientation, but it's basically our data compliance. So how to be responsible around data. Okay. Another way we as adults can use it responsibly here is number 3 is always, I know we've all heard it, but always be sure to preview any AI generated text and images. Um, Here on the right, you can see we've used Flint, one of our approved bots, to help us make report card comments. We copy and paste them in, but we read it first. Okay, we copy paste it onto a Google Doc and then we edit and read it first. Magic School down here has made professional emails for us, but we have to read them first. And I have 2 tips over here as well to help make your writing not so AI obvious. One is AI loves hyphens. So if you can be sure to say like use less hyphens or go through yourself and remove those hyphens, it's not so obvious that we've used AI, although we will still cite it. And then also the excessive use of emojis and how they organize is really clear that we've used AI for that then. So I like to remove those and redo it a little bit myself so that it's not so AI obvious. And just make sure that we're previewing text. You don't have to remove those things. You cite your source that you're using it. It's an appropriate way to use it. But if you're interested, that is some tips that we give. All right, those are 3. Our 4th tip here is to never assign grades solely graded with AI. Here on the top is an example of Flint. It's a great program. We're going to talk about it more, but it has the power to upload your rubric and then assign a grade for students based on how they interact with it. So actually you could be doing assessments this way and it would give them a grade. We're never going to allow that grade to be their grade. We are going to look through their strengths, their weaknesses, and then here you can even see that the teacher has a section to add their own, and then you can grade them. Same thing here, we use Brisk a lot for feedback, and this is not as much as assigning grades, but here it's giving some grading feedback, but we would never paste that in until we read it and adjust it ourselves. Okay, so those are 5, and there's one more tip, I think, but there's 6. And that last one I've already mentioned. But to be responsible with using AI in this educational world and with students, we have to be really explicit if we do not want them to use it on the assignment. So for example, here's a rubric for 10th grade writing an argumentative essay. It says specifically on the top, no AI assistance. Our kids are used to like, oh, and then we're going to use AI to identify how is my writing, point out places that in my argument I could be more explicit. But we want to often have them times disconnect from that as well, practice their own critical thinking. And so we want to be really explicit here. No assistance. And I even put a part in the rubric, no AI assistance was complied with. I hope this kind of dwindles out that we have to be so explicit with this as we practice appropriate use. But at this point in time, I don't think we are. So we need to be really clear with students when we don't want them to use it on any part of assignments. So only way that we can really help students with this is not only by telling them the rules, not having them use it, and teaching them some digital citizenship, but is to integrate it into our units at times. So we've been playing and experimenting around with integrating AI with students, and we found some more formal ways where we can make sure that we do that in a responsible way that helps them learn about AI, but also doesn't steal a lot of their thinking. And so when we integrate AI with students, we have this image I put on the last slide, but I didn't talk about it, but it's kind of like a student on the guardrail. So it helps us from going over the edge is putting up these guardrails with students and guardrails with ourselves. So some rules about appropriate use. So when we integrate AI with students, we want to have 3 main parts. One is, I can't see this, a pre-AI activity. something that has completely offline, starting with our own thinking, pushing our brains, practicing using that brain muscle. The second part has, in an AI integrated unit, a structured AI integration. Not just, you can use AI for this part. No, here's a program that you can use. Here are the requirements of what we're going to use it for. And here are the guardrails of what you can and cannot do with it. And then always a post AI activity, a metacognitive reflection component. Like, how did your thinking change? Okay, that really helps us get into understanding how AI is changing our thinking in this world. So, what did you learn after using AI? Okay, so we're going to go through, I'm just going to go through a few example integrated units with AI using this structure. So a grade 2 or 3 activity. So this is around the plant cycle and what it does, right? So a pre-activity from this would be students draw their own plant diagram and write 3 ways they think plants help the community. Okay, so they're drawing their diagram from their brain, what they see, what they know, what they've been practicing about, not using technology at all, not using AI at all, just getting their thoughts down on paper. Then there comes this AI integration piece where students use an AI approved tool, in our case, Joy Schooler, because it's 2nd grade, and they go into the program, they ask, how do plants in our community help people or animals? And they have a conversation back and forth, and they add those ideas to their current diagram with the 3 ways they think plants help the community. During that AI integration, teachers have provided a simple worksheet with a thing that says, like, my ideas, another column that says new ideas from AI, so we can clearly see where the thinking is coming from. Then there would be a post AI activity where, in small groups, students share their original ideas first. Then each student presents one new insight they gain from AI, explicitly citing, like, after exploring with Joy Schooler, I learned that plants also help by ... Students create a collaborative mural combining their original and AI enhanced understandings, all the while citing or highlighting that. We do a lot of highlighting where AI helped you. This is a great AI integrated unit. Why? We had some thinking on our own. I'm always listing and never seeing. We had some thinking on our own. We set some clear boundaries of how we're going to use AI and gave students a chance to interact with it. And then we also gave students a chance to think about, how did AI help my learning? How did it enhance it? Okay. Here's another one. This is for high school economics, grade 11 and 12. So the pre-AI would be students draft their position papers on an economic policy issue that maybe they're studying. So they draft that paper already. Then, with no AI, then the teacher created a Flint bot, so another AI tool that we have access to, that debates in a dialogue with students about their economic arguments with multiple perspectives. We've made some that have like 3 or 4 different thoughts within the AI. During the AI integration, there's been guardrail sets that students submit their original draft. They revise their paper after the AI debate, and then they reflect on how it's changed. So they wrote without AI, they're going to have this debate, they're going to go back, revise their paper if they've learned something, and they're going to add a reflection piece of how the AI debate enhanced their economic understanding. Okay, so that was also a guardrail and the post AI activity. Okay, so students revise papers, incorporating and citing AI discovered counter arguments while explaining how addressing these challenges strengthen their analysis. Okay, so there is thinking beforehand, a very guided integration, and then a reflection afterwards. And I'm going to go through one more. I know we're getting really long on this video. So another one is for grades 9 and 10, and where students write their personal essay. We've done this one actually at ASB as well, and it's a beautiful lesson. So students first write their personal essay draft. There's no AI. This is their personal story. Then the teachers created a Flint bot where the students are actually going to upload their essay, and then they have these 3-4 prompts that are already listed for them. So one is like, I wrote this personal essay What does this piece tell you about me and my beliefs? So it's not rewriting anything. The second one, I've written this essay about this. To what extent does my anecdote and analysis support my belief statement? Asking very specifically things that they've been practicing. Here's my writing. Where does my writing or voice shine through? How do you describe my writing and voice? And then if it doesn't shine through, identify some places I should go back and rework my writing. Or 4, where's my descriptive writing, imagery, poetic language most vivid? These are ways to reflect and get feedback on your work without saying, here's my essay, rewrite it. All right. Here are the guardrails where students identify the revisions that were added after the AI feedback was identified. Post-AI activity. Students revise their essays based on selected feedback. Okay. And the teacher, of course, will have the 2 copies because they've drafted it first. We are wanting to get more AI integrated units like this out there for students. And so we have some resources. One is a general poster. These you'll see up around the hallways. And then I also have a classroom poster for every subject area. The link to those posters is in this Google assignment classroom. It's a Google Classroom assignment as well. So you can find, if you're music, this one. If you're economics, world history, writing, ways, all these are practice ways that students could use AI in your classroom. You could use it for you, or you could post it for students as well. You could also make a copy and edit it. I also have this Flint bot that actually helps make AI integrated units for you. So this is a tool that you do not have to do this for this assignment right now. We're going to probably practice it together. But what it does is it helps teachers develop classroom activities that have a pre-AI thinking, like we just saw. It has the AI integrated idea, and it has guardrail suggestions, as well as the post-AI reflective thinking. This is something that can help you brainstorm AI integrated ideas for units. And then lastly, our last slide in here, the last thing I'm going to say is I just want to show you the ASB AI tool. ASB approved AI tools. We have several that we have access to, that we pay for, that are GDPR compliant and safe for us to use as ourselves and with students. In elementary, we use something called Joy Schooler, as well as something called Magic School. Joy Schooler is for student use. Magic School helps teachers, if you haven't heard of it, and it helps students. Teachers can make Magic School rooms for their students to interact with. Teachers can use Magic School to make rubrics, lesson plans, write emails, give feedback. Another tool that we use heavily is Flint. It should say middle school and high school teachers. It's actually open to everyone. However, Flint is specifically used for teachers to make bots for students. And because we already have the elementary ones that we use to make bots for students, we don't often use this in elementary. However, there are a lot of tools in there for teachers to use as well. High school students have access to this at all times. It is what we're pushing them to use when they want to go to a general AI and ask it. So a lot of kids just want to say, I'll go to chat and do it, Chat GPT. However, we want to say, no, go to Flint. Why? We buy it. They have an open chat where they can just say, like, what do you need help with today? And it is within our security, meaning if there's anything dangerous that comes up, let's say that students are talking about self-harm, it's flagged. We can see on the other end, and we have some security measures to see what students are talking about. Now, Flint can be used to make bots for your classroom, or students can just access it whenever they want to get AI assistance. Okay? We'll talk more about it in orientation. On the bottom, there's a few more just to be aware of. Image generation, we use Adobe Firefly. We also have access to Canva, which has an AI integrated or an AI image generator in there as well. Instead of using ChatGPT, generic, free, general, which we do not advise at all, we have access to Google's Gemini, which is within our Google Suite domain. And then we also have, as I mentioned before, brisk teaching. So this is a place where you can give students feedback on their work, and it's integrated with Google as well. We're going to dig into these more at orientation. However, they how you log in is mostly with Google for all of these. Actually, all of these are with Google, so that makes it quite easy. But I have a school subscription Google Doc that includes these and many more subscriptions we have, like BrainPop and iExcel, Canva. All the subscriptions that we have are listed on this website, this Google Doc, as well as these AI tools. So this is also linked into our Google Classroom assignment. It's also always available on my ASB, which is a platform that we use, and there's a video about as well. So I'm so sorry to take up 30 minutes of your time here, but I'm really excited for you to join us as we tackle AI in education, AI at ASB, and I will be your resource to work with creating any integrated AI projects. If you have any AI plagiarism issues, that actually gets taken care of at the division leader level. So if you are finding that we have some plagiarism issues, you will talk to your assistant principal or your principal. All right. Um, Thanks so much. You can go and play the game, the sorting game, if you haven't done that already, to finish up this assignment.